how did you even first get into fighting games?
Bro, okay, damn. So the fighting games, the reason I started playing fighting games was really just because of my pops. Like my dad is young. So my dad was only 15 when I was born. You know what I mean? So he's my pops, obviously, but he's also always been like a big brother type of thing too. Don't get me wrong, he used to whoop my ass as a kid. Listen, that was cool when I was growing up, okay? I can do it to my kids though. But you know what I'm saying? Like he was my dad. But at the same time, we played video games together and all that type of stuff. Like, you know, like hey, I started working out with him and stuff like that. So he's the one who got me into Street Fighter because, you know, he's growing up in like the 80s. So it was big. He's into Transformer, Street Fighter, all that. And now, anyway, fast forward a lot. That's how I started playing in the first place. But eventually, and like I said, just I guess fast forwarding a bit, it wasn't as far as me actually going to my first ever tournament. Brian, I don't even know if you know this, bro. So I'm in college. The first offline event I ever went to, I heard there was something in, because I only played online. I heard there was some event in Cleveland. I was in school at Miami University in Ohio. It was a good business school. And so I drove down there. When I tell you I beat everybody ass, bro, I thought I was the GOAT. Because they had like...
You won your first offline event?
There's a picture. I'll send it to you to put it in here maybe. I don't know extra for double A, but I'll send it to you.
Where the origins of RobTV come from now.
Bro, I'm telling you. And then there was like you got to think, this is my first ever offline. And people are like, it's like a regional thing where they got a certificate for the winner and everything. Like, so...
This is Street Fighter 4 to clarify. Like,
no,
what
this is
year
Street
is
Fighter
this?
5.
Oh, this is Street Fighter 5. So you did play casually Street Fighter 4 before.
Yeah, but I'd never been to an offline for Street Fighter 4 though.
Okay, so this was like 2016, like first year of Street Fighter 5 then?
This got to be 2016, like maybe the end of 2016. So it was called Cleveland Clash. So I won it. Like it was so few people that they had to do round robin, but I didn't lose to nobody. No. So I remember taking a picture with my thing, like, but they didn't. That wasn't the tournament taking it. I just took it. My girl took it for me at the time. So I was excited as hell.
Right.
So fast forward a lot, bro. Now I remember I was like, bro. Now the name RobTV and stuff. Like the reason my name RobTV is just RobTV was just the name of my YouTube channel. So early in the FGC, I'm like, all right, I'm dropping out of college. But it's not as stupid as it sounds. It's not like, I was like, I'm about to just pursue the FGC. I just knew it was going to be either entrepreneurship or maybe content or XYZ instead of just like traditional path. So I had a lame ass channel name. It's still, I go say that, but I had a lame ass channel name. It was called No Chart TV, bruh. Because like flowchart.
No chart?
Like flowchart, but instead of having a flowchart, it was so lame.
The fact that you had to explain it. Yeah, the fact that you had to explain it, not good.
Yeah. So that was my shit because it was going to be, then good. I was like, I don't want to be, ironically, I was like, I don't want to be pigeonholed to just fighting game content. So I was like, you know what? Let me make it RobTV because then I can post anything I want on there because of the name.
Yeah, you're the brand. Right.
I'm the brand.
I think you had foresight with that. So you started this channel originally because you won a round robin tournament in Cleveland out of
that's
nowhere.
Not why I started the channel. I just started the channel because I thought that the FGC didn't have a lot of like entertainment and shit. Like, and I remember... it was FGC related. Like you were inspired to create content in the FGC lane. Because I remember seeing some of your older YouTube videos, even like you did have some original like sort of vlog type of discussion videos that you did back in the day. But I remember even like older, I think there was like non-FGC stuff on there. Well, it was... The first video is FGC.
Okay, so you explicitly started this channel with inspiration from making FGC content.
Yep, it literally said like the first video on there is literally like, it's so lame too, but I edited the fuck out of it. I gotta send it to you. It's unlisted now, but it's still there. But it was literally like
you hit it
comparing Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5, and I did this, bro. But it's video essay style, so it's like.
That's sick. Why did you unlist it?
Bro, I've unlisted like 70% of my videos, but the reasoning, that's a later issue. Like, but that's a more recent thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but so basically I went on there and unlisted, which maybe I should put the shit back. I don't know, bro. Like, but I unlisted a lot of shit on there. So yeah, at that time that I made FGC videos, but I was like, let me post a Madden video or a random vlog or something, but it was all FGC. So, to the FGC side, competitively though, like you said, me and you competing and stuff. My first year really going to tournaments, I would say was, you could argue 2017 at best, and I would say 2018, but 2017 is when I went to my first major. That's when I played you in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, we've told this story before, but like, you know, for people who don't know, me and you did No Neutral for years. We'll touch on that. Like we've been working on content segments with Capcom, and then also competing in the Midwest region for a couple of years. And it was like years later where you mentioned this offhand, like, oh yeah, remember when we played at SCR, or like when I saw you
SCR.
at Final Round 2017,
Yeah,
like
I
that
saw you at Final
CPT
Round.
season?
Yep.
I was like, no. And then you had to explain. You said, yeah, I was there. I was the guy in the red RobTV t-shirt. And then it clicked out in my head. I had pigeonholed that experience and that person and you, RobTV, like 2018 and beyond,
as two
completely different people. Because I remember seeing like, dude, this guy with his name on his shirt, and he's like, I'm like, he's never gonna win a tournament. I immediately saw this guy. I was like, oh, that's cute. Like he really believes in himself. He's never gonna win a damn tournament in his life. Because we played at SCR that year, and I kind of smoked you then. Like, and Ballard was busted, and you were like on your come up still. And I've been playing for a lot longer, actually, competitively than you at that point. And I remember you asking for advice, and you were real humble about it, and we had like a legit conversation, but I had no idea that was you. And then next year, you already started getting wins on me next year, like, and I had no clue.
Yeah.
Maybe I gave you the blueprint to beat me back then. I didn't even know.
The reason the reason why I improved so fast is because like I didn't even have a regular job. Like I didn't believe in. I'm somebody who was like super deep on the. I like at this point in life, I'm not like as heavy on like self-help books and shit like that. But at that time, I'm still that type of person, if that makes sense, though. Just not in a lame bro science, grind hard fucking bullshit way. But I really am into that type of stuff, right? So I didn't like. I remember this dude. I think it's Christopher Gardner, the dude they made The Pursuit of Happiness about, that movie with Will Smith. And he said that like he was a real successful businessman. And he was saying he believed that you shouldn't have a plan B, because you're not going to be as good at plan A. And I took that to heart, and I still believe that. So I don't really believe in plan B. So, like there's a joke to be had there. But, I don't really believe in that. So in the end of the day, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And if anybody else can succeed at it, then I can, as cliche as that may sound. So I did not have, I was like, I'm not going to college no more. I'm not doing I'm just going to do this shit. So every day, all day, I trained Street Fighter. I made YouTube videos, whatever. Honestly, do you know, as far as FGC content, the only reason I started making FGC content was the Echo Fox era. To give you some shit that people don't know. I was so pissed.
Echo Fox, like 2018?
Yes.
Like 2017 era?
Yes. I stopped making content for a while because I was heavy on my YouTube shit. Like, that meant a lot to me. The reason I stopped was because... You
kind of had like a break. I remember you were 2017, and when you first started showing up, you had a lot of content being produced. And then I feel like that there was like a break, and then you're back on it, but in a completely different avenue later on.
Yes, and that was because it's crazy, because I feel like I was kind of ahead of the curve with this. Like, at that time, I was like, bro, the business model is content. I was like, this is the most valuable thing that we could do, even for sponsors and stuff. And at that time, I wanted to build a team sponsor and all that shit, XYZ. And then behind the scenes, I'm seeing who these orgs are sponsoring. And I'm noticing that none of these dudes make no content. None at that. The new people in FGC don't remember. Brian, you remember. Motherfuckers, right now, everybody got a stream. No. It wasn't really no Twitch streamers for as close to as much. YouTubers, none of that type of shit. All dudes would do is be good and go to tournaments, win or lose, and go home. And they're getting sponsored by these big orgs. So
it was a different era. And even different than that was that it was looked down upon, I would argue, early on in Street Fighter V's life. So I started streaming back in Street Fighter 4, dude. Yeah. There was nobody streaming except for like one or two people, and there was a title called Home Streamer.
Wow.
It was like almost, it wasn't even like they had to specify. Like, if you're a player now, a competitive player, you have a stream, you have a YouTube, you have a Twitter, you have social media. It's part of your brand as a player. But like, if you had a stream back then and you weren't like a fixture in the tournament scene, you were called a home streamer and you played online, and it was seen as like this wacky, weird side thing. And I was one of the first people who was like, I'm documenting my journey to become a competitive player, and I'm just showing you everything I'm doing, right? That was kind of a thing that didn't exist before. So yeah, and then in 2016, 2017, when Street Fighter 5 dropped, there was like that esports boom again, like a second boom for the Street Fighter community. There was 2009 when Street Fighter 4, then Street Fighter 5 dropped. That's when the biggest amount of like venture capitalist funding and all these teams started just pumping in money, not just to FGC, but esports as a whole. So the legacy players from the Street Fighter 4 era, the top players then started getting sponsored and started getting huge salaries for, I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
For nothing.
There was no vision of the future, but they were throwing money at players.
Yeah. It was so dumb, bro. I'm like, bro, why is it? What's the logic here?
Like we're talking like 6-figure salaries. Like some of the players in the FGC on some of these big teams were getting like high 5 figures to 6-figure salaries to do, I don't know what. Like they were banking on them having success in CPT to get Capcom Cup. But even if they won Capcom Cup, they're not making any money from that.
They weren't banking on anything. They had all this VC funding and was just stupid as hell and just like, oh, well, we need to do something with the money. And just throwing it out there.
There's a lot of made up numbers. I mean, I've looked back on a lot of this era and saw a lot of retrospectives from other content creators and people behind the scenes about talking about how that went. And yeah, it was all funny money. And even like at the time, you had to have known. Like you had to have known that something was up. Like this was not going to last. This bubble burst. COVID, I think, was the death blow to it, right? Like player salaries started dropping, teams started dissolving. But there was no future in that. There was no way to make a return on paying these players this much money.
It was stupid.
It was a completely different era.
And you know, I remember, and it's crazy because I think that goes to, so yes, that's why I stopped making content for one, because it was like, okay, if I want to succeed in this, they don't want you to make content. They want you to just win. I got to win. So that's why.
So wait, before you move on, I'm just trying to understand, was your thought that it's the brand image I'm sending? If I'm making content, I'm too overexposed, so I don't have that mystique? Or it's more like I just need to spend my time focusing on competing and content is distracting from that?
At that time, I felt that it was just results over everything because I disagreed with the business model. But I said, if this is the way this field is, I have no choice. So I was like, it's no point in me turning on my camera. The best thing I can do is just win.